Mic check. Give me a thumbs up now. Of course. Go figure. So I'm gonna have to start this over. Let me know how it is now. No? Sound? Okay, yeah, I can hear myself. Okay, that's weird. I don't know why. For some odd reason, once in a while, my settings for my mic get turned off. It hasn't done that to me in a long time, but for some reason it did. That's so weird. All right, so we're good now. That's why I always ask, because the day that I don't ask, then I start going on. So anyway, let me start that from the top. My apologies. It happens. I'm human. So welcome everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed, cover murder mystery to the missing. Today we're going to be going over the footage. It was released. I'm not sure exactly when. There's multiple videos, and they're all kind of taken from. There's actually two spots that they were taken from. We're going to focus on the Linda Lane, the one side of it, but there is also video surveillance from the other apartment as well. If we have time, maybe we'll look at that as well. But we're going to focus on the one where it shows a car passing 3 times, and then if you add in the original one, that would be 4 times. So we're going to go over that. But before we get started, okay, let's see. Intro head sound, just no mic. Perfect, good. We're good now. Okay, all right, I think some people are just coming in late and watching the beginning and saying no sound. Okay, I got you. All right, but before we get started, we always like to give back by featuring the missing. And this one's huge because this is coming straight from a father. So this is Kyson. I think Henderson is his last name. His father, Dan Henderson, emailed me. His son is only 16 years old. And he is right now a runaway. He does unfortunately suffer from some drug use, and I think he said in the email that he might have like a warrant, probably maybe drug related. I don't know, but he's just worried. You know, his son's scared and on the run, and he just doesn't want anything to happen to him. And I completely understand. Just 16 years old. You know, we all make mistakes when we're young. So he's missing out of Spring Branch, Houston, Texas area. So if anybody's out in that area or in Texas, be on the lookout for this guy here, Kyson. I believe Henderson could have a different last name. I don't have a phone number, so obviously it would just be call your local law enforcement. All right. And then we have another one, Rakaya Adriana Ackerman, missing out of Tallahassee, Florida. She went missing 12 days ago, June 30th. Just 16 years old, purple hair, brown eyes, 5'6", 120 pounds. This would not be the first time when I was pulling up her information. I noticed that she had a previous poster. So sadly, she's been a runaway multiple times. So hopefully she'll come back, but she went missing June 30th, last seen wearing a dark beanie, light colored shirt, dark colored pants, black shoes, and was carrying a bag of clothes. So anybody in Tallahassee or Florida, be on the lookout for Rihanna. And the number to call, you can call 850-606-3300. All right, let's get going. Okay, let me check the poll here because it's kind of going swinging back and forth. Okay, so interesting. So 50% of you have not seen all of the leaked surveillance. Interesting. And then we have 30% say yes, they have, and then at 16% not sure if they've seen it all. So interesting. All right, well, let's get into it. So let me see. Pull this up. So let's give just a little context about the footage itself. So here we've got the Idaho for former students residence here where I'm circling my mouse, as most of you would know. We have the Queen Road Apartments here, which we're actually going to take a deeper dive into the Queen Road Apartments because this is now in between the surveillance footage we're going to watch and where the crime scene's at. But the footage that we're going to watch is from this complex here at 1330 Linda Lane. Now, what's interesting about this newer release footage, and I think it's been out, this new one I'm going to show you, I think it's been out almost a week, maybe longer. And then there's also other footage that's from the 1320, which is, because I'm kind of blocking it here, which is, minimize this for just a minute. So we have the 1330, which we're going to watch, but there's also footage that we knew about because it looks over Taylor Avenue, because apparently this camera here apparently sees the car driving past Taylor Ave. But like I said, we're going to focus on the 1330, and just to give you a little context about the footage. I'm not going to talk too much about it because the person that was kind of involved in some of this, I guess, did put out a video today kind of talking about how it got leaked out. And I did watch most of it. I don't think I caught the whole entire video. But for those who are just wondering how it got leaked, apparently, obviously, I think the owner had the footage originally. And then, of course, law enforcement has it because they talk about a car passing multiple times. And now it makes sense because I think a lot of us had the idea that he was actually, the suspect was driving up King and Queen and doing the passes. I was always kind of thinking maybe he was just driving up to Queen Road and like doing a U-turn. But now actually being able to see this more, a bigger time frame of this footage that was released, because before it was just between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. that was released, and now they released between 3 and 4, so now we have 2 hours, 2-hour window. But apparently the owner had it, and then I don't know, a second party got a hold of it, and then they sat on it for a while. I don't know how long, and then I guess they were watching it and thought they had seen some things or heard some things. And we're going to talk about that towards the end of the show, because they kind of thought maybe possibly the homicides took place before 4 a.m. But we'll, like I said, we'll talk about it at the end, kind of give some arguments to that. But apparently the second party, after kind of sharing and talking with the third party, they ended up, apparently from what I understand, is they leaked it to a person overseas, or shared it with somebody overseas they thought they could trust, and then apparently that person leaked it out, from what I understand. And I could be completely wrong, but that's kind of what I got the gist from the video, something like that. So anyway, let's get into it. Oh, I've got my enhanced video on. Let me take this down real quick. All right, so this footage is actually obviously not the security footage. This is just showing you the drive in front. So right now to our right would be the former students, 1122 King Road. And then what's in front of us is the 500 Queen Road apartments. And I just thought, because we never really get to see what it really looks like back here. So I thought that was kind of interesting to look at this. Kind of get an idea of, and it looks like there's a camera up there. That's why that was doing that. I just realized that. I've only seen this footage, this is actually my second time seeing this. I was wondering why they were zooming in, but you can see that it looks like, and if you're on their phone, I apologize, but that looks like there is a camera up there. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's definitely camera. Now, if it was running or not, we don't know, but and that's another thing we're going to address too, is how many different cameras are actually that caught the suspect's vehicle. There's quite a bit. So this is Linda Lane. This is one of the complexes. This is 1330. Fortunately, this video cuts out right where I was hoping to go just a little bit further. So this is what we'd kind of see. But if we were to go to the right, as a matter of fact, I just realized my head's blocking kind of the important part here. So let me minimize this a little bit for you guys. So one thing I did not know that learned today is that if you go to the right, so obviously there's this little barrier here, cement barrier, but to the right, there's actually a path that allows you to go all the way around the Queen Road Apartments. So technically, you don't have to. I thought it was like you would have to. It was kind of like a dead end right here, like a dead end parking lot or a side secondary parking lot for Queen Road. But actually, there is a little one lane that just kind of goes in between this apartment complex here that we're looking at, Linda Lane, and then to our right, which would be the Queen Road Apartments. But yes, there's a little road that actually goes through it. So that's kind of interesting. All right. Okay. Let me go back to full view here. Oh, I just got a notification. Oh, Christina, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Please show Christina some love in the chat. I will be doing some members videos hopefully tonight or tomorrow morning. And then thank you to my new Patreons as well. I've got like 2 or 3 that signed up, so thank you so much. Okay, so now for those that have not seen this, we've got a bigger time window here. There is audio, of course, but you really can't hear much. There is some spots that does have audio, you know, some sounds that are interesting, and I will play that at the end. So we'll focus on video first, and then we'll play the enhanced audio. So here's 3:30, and here, for those that are just wondering where we're looking at, let me pull up. This is what we're looking at. So this red arrow is the camera and where it's pointed. And this green line is basically the car's path. And so, you know, we couldn't see that there was a road because, you know, from looking on Google Maps or Earth, we got these trees that blocked this area. So it kind of looked like it was just a dead end. But apparently it's not. So you can actually go around the apartments all the way around, which is very interesting. So here we're going to look at, if those that are familiar with the probable cause affidavit, it talks about the suspect vehicle 1 being seen 4 times. And before the 4th time, 3 times it passes. And so this is kind of what it's doing. So we're going to play the video here. So the first time it's seen is 3:30, 3:31. And I will zoom in here in just a bit. But you just see the car kind of pass. Of course, the camera's kind of a little bit far out, so I apologize for those that are kind of on a smaller device. But like I said, I do have it more zoomed in here in just a minute. We're just kind of going through the timeline. Now, as you can see, I fast forward the time, and now we're at 3:38, 3:39. So it's now been 8 minutes approximately since 3:31. And now we got a car coming by again. And it's just going to drive to the kind of top left-hand screen. And there's kind of like a cement wall, so you can only really kind of see the top of the car when it's kind of passing right here. And like I said, once we watch the 3rd time, we'll zoom in here and let you guys get a closer look. So now we're going to fast forward. Now the time is 3:56. So now it's been approximately 18 minutes. So between pass 1 and pass 2 is 8 minutes. Between pass 2 and 3 was 18 minutes. Now the car is passing for the 3rd time. So same thing, and what's crazy is almost the speed this person goes at, if you think it's Bryan Kohberger, which I know innocent until proven guilty, but for those that... follow me. I honestly now, especially after seeing this footage, it all lines up with the affidavit, um, and we'll dive deeper into this. But in my opinion, I think this is really just not looking good for Bryan, in my opinion. So now I got it zoomed in, and I actually even zoomed in some more. But here's the 330, 331 pass, the first time he passes. But I wanted to do something different that maybe, hopefully, another content creator hasn't done yet, um, to make this unique. And I'll show you here this, show you that here in just a second. So there's that pass. Then we got the 338, 339 pass. Once again. And I will get to comments here in just a minute. So there it is. Been 8 minutes since first pass. This is pass number 2. If this is the same car, which I think it is, because what I'm going to do is I actually overlay all the videos on top of each other, and the car literally, and you'll watch as I bring the opacity, which is to make the one video transparent. You know, it takes the transparent off and on, and I overlap the videos and line them up, and the car, I'll show you here in a minute. And then once again, the third pass, which is at 357. Okay, and then the footage that, you know, that came out, I believe, first. Maybe it was all leaked out at once, but I do remember this being the first footage everybody was talking about. And this is the one. This is why I thought it was still just maybe a dead end, because this is the one. So it's been, now if you're just wondering, from pass 3 to pass 4, it's been 8 minutes, which I think is very interesting. And I think I may have just a theory on it, just a theory. But this pass, he doesn't go through the same way. This time it's a 3-point turn, which is described in the affidavit. So car pulls up, appears to be white, appears to be a sedan. And so it's here. Now it's got reverse lights on. And now it's going to kind of back up where that little lane is right here. And now is going to go back the way it came in, which was different from the first 3 times, which is kind of interesting. But that is described in the affidavit, and that makes more sense. So let me get to chat here for a minute, and then we're going to break this down even further, and then I'm going to show you, like I said, and I've got it zoomed in more for those that may or having trouble see. I overlaid all the videos to see if the car, like, if the car height was different, like if it was different cars. I know a lot of cars are going to be the same height, but I mean, other cars are not. So I just wanted to see if it lined up or if there was a discrepancy. And so I'll show you guys that here in a bit. Oh, good to see you, Elizabeth. I was going to reach out to you. Miss all of you. Keep doing your awesome self, Chris and mods. I'm having a rough time getting through work to get to my site and art. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But wanted all of you to know you are appreciated, and please know I'm trying. No worries, Elizabeth. Please take your time, and yeah, I'll reach out to you. And anytime you want me to, just email me, and I'll be more than happy to shout out your website. She's got a website, Canvas. Oh, I forget the exact title of it. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. But it's amazing. I've showed her artwork on a members live, and it's really cool. And we'll probably show that here in an upcoming show. But I'd like to talk to you first to make sure I can get your approval before I do that. But it's really amazing. She's going to sell some artwork to donate some of the proceeds, which is really awesome, to cold cases and stuff. So I think that's really amazing. So thank you so much, Elizabeth. Where the Wind Blows, thank you so much for becoming a member. Been a member for 1 month. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, so the sunroof thing, yeah, we'll talk about the moonroof because that's in the footage on this one, 1320. Well, my head's blocking it. That's coming from the other footage, and that the time, see, and I thought that was so suspicious that it didn't have the time up. And I always thought that, man, that doesn't feel right. I think they did release it with the time stamp in the top finally, but uh, there is a car that's seen that's white that does kind of a U-turn over here where my head's at with the other footage, but the timing's off, and so that could just be a random white car. And like I said, if we get time, we'll dive into that. But I want to stick with this footage for now and not make it too confusing. But now I understand where the whole sunroof came from. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so this is just giving an overview. I talked about it already. Just of where the camera, what this car is doing. It's just circling basically around this Queen Road Apartments. And then what I think he's doing is, in my personal theory, is he's obviously surveilling the house, seeing if the lights are on. Um, and I have a little bit more theories to that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But here is where, and I just shown you using my video editor. What you see here is so this video here is the first pass. The video above it is the second path. And so remember, the first path is at 331. The second pass is at 339. And as you see, I'll switch the opacity, which is the transparency of the two videos, and I stop it to where the car is just right here, and to see if there's any discrepancies with the car and the height, to see if it's a different car. And I do that with all three videos. So let's take a look. I even add in a line to kind of show where the roof is at. Now this line is stationary. It does not move at all. And it's embedded in all three videos. And so yeah, so let me play this. So what we're looking at here is me just kind of showing the workings of it and me running the opacity off and on. So as you can see, the time's going to change to 339 back to 331, 339. And I'm going to zoom in here in just a minute. It's a little too much zoomed in. So here we are. Oh, perfect. So here we are at 331. The car is right here. And of course, I'll have the red line pop up again here in just a minute. And I'm running the thing back and forth. As you can see, there's no change in it. You can see the time change, but I have the car exactly where it was the first. And so this is pass one and pass two overlapped with each other. And I'm literally turning the transparent all the way off and back on. And you don't see any discrepancy. It's literally, this car, to me, at the very least, is the same kind of car. And then I even put this kind of red line just to kind of give you an idea of where the top of the car is at, just to kind of measure, if it was a different car, would it kind of be lower below the line at the same level, or a little bit higher? And between pass one and two, it's the same. So this really made it easy to compare. So if I have pass one and pass two and there's no difference at all I need to do to compare with pass three is just use either one or two. I really don't need to do both of them, because if they're exact mirror match, pass one and pass two, then obviously I just need to use pass two or one to compare with three. So here I've got 339, which is pass two, and now I'm going to run pass two and pass three. So here I'm just kind of showing the car going through with the line. Oh, I'm still showing pass one and pass two just with the line, just to kind of play it in different forms, but it stays the same. So we're going to go forward just a little bit. But yeah, to me, the car stays in the same spot. Okay, now is where I do pass. Let's see, actually pass 1 and pass 3. That's what I use. So here on the left is my opacity, which is the transparency of the two videos. So as you can see now, it says 357. So I'm comparing pass 1 and pass 3 and seeing if the car changes at all. It's in the same exact position, but obviously it's different times. As you can see the time change, and I will zoom in. So here it's 357. The car's a little bit ahead, but I'll back it up. So there's the car. So here we go. We got 357, and you'll see it change to 331. See how it changes to 331, and there's just no change in the car. So here I'm going to change it again. 357. The car does not change. So to me, in my opinion, it's the same car. Now, yes, like I said before, there are many cars that are the same height, but given the fact that this is 18 minutes and 8 minutes apart, I mean, this is 3 times within an hour, really 4 times within an hour. I would think it's all the same car. So same thing, I think I'm just kind of running it, and I think I zoom in a little bit more for those of me. Yeah, I do one final zoom in for you guys. So for those that couldn't see it before, hopefully maybe you can see it now even better. I zoomed it in even closer, and this is the first pass again. So we can see the roof, because you know we got the cement here and then the roof. And keep in mind that we're on a slope, and so the car actually kind of goes down as it passes left. So I guess I could have angled this a little bit downward a little bit, but still, it gives us a reference point. That was the main point of it. So here's the first pass. You can see 331. Second pass, 338. And this is 339. This is just zoomed in closer, just to show you that it, as it appears past that beam, it lines up with the red line with the roof. So here's the front of it, lines up with the roof again. Then it kind of a little bit below the line as it passes through. So that's pass 2. I'm going to just kind of pass it a little bit here. Perfect. And our third pass, 357. Same thing, it's coming through past the beam. The roof is pretty much lined right up. And then we can see it's a little bit smaller. And so all 3 passes to me look the same. Same size car. Okay, now let me take a sip here and I'll check chat. Now we're going to talk about all the passes and the time difference between them each, and then something I found kind of interesting. Yeah, BK cars, no sunroof. Yeah, keep in mind, this sunroof video is a different video, and it's from a different timestamp. So it could be any car. Like I said, it's taken from a different video and a different timestamp. I guess I should get that video to show you guys what we're talking about. But like I said, I'll do that at the end because I don't want to get people confused. Like I said, I think that's just a random car from the other camera. And I thought it was odd that the timestamp was missing when that first came out. Um, so we've got the difference between each pass. Now, some of these passes are kind of right on between like the minute change. But basically, we have 3:31 between pass one and pass two. We have 8-minute difference. So obviously, this car, after it passed the camera, it was gone for 8 minutes, and then on pass two, it was seen again. Then between pass two and pass three, it was gone for 18 minutes. But what's interesting is between pass three and the final pass, which it does the 3-point turn, between 3:57 and 4:05 is 8 minutes. So you have two out of the total passes, two out of the three, where there's an 8-minute gap, which I've found interesting. It's kind of a coincidence, and I think that's just him circling the neighborhood, which just so happens. Let's see, do I go to that part yet? No, we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's go to the affidavit for just a minute to reference it. So 3:28 a.m. Here's part of the affidavit, and if you guys remember, the first time we ever seen like a picture of the car came from like the gas station, and it apparently came up this road here, which is Troy Road, and it's also considered Highway 80, Highway 95. That's right. But here's Steiner Ave, and I'm assuming it's the camera from the gas station that's on this corner here, or there might be a camera on the neighborhood of Steiner Ave. Not sure, because it says it's westbound on Steiner, so that would be here. It says at 3:28 is when it's caught on camera. Well, what's interesting is when we get the first pass is at 3:31, 3 minutes later. And guess how long it takes to get there? According to Google, and as a matter of fact, if you were to slide this a little bit closer, it would actually say 3 minutes. And obviously, this is just approximate. But it's just interesting that on the affidavit, it says 3:28, and then here, 3 minutes later, we get the first pass. So it does add up there with the affidavit, in my opinion. So now let's talk about the 8-minute window between the pass. And this is just purely speculation on the 8-minute time frame, but it's interesting that you have two of the passes that have the same gap of time. And so here we've kind of got the, an outside view of the neighborhood. And what's interesting is if you take kind of Taylor to Highway 95, and then I think this is Palouse Road here, and then you would eventually come into Walnut Drive. But if you notice where the blue line is, it says it's 5 minutes. So from basically almost 3/4 of the circle is 5 minutes. And then in the gray area, which is the rest of the circle, is 4 minutes. So really 4, 5, 9. So basically to circle this entire neighborhood, according to Google, takes approximately 8 to 9 minutes. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So just my theory, it could be that on pass one, after he passed, he went around the Queen Road apartments, he circled, some part of the outside neighborhood, and was gone for 8 minutes. Maybe, doing some surveillance or whatever. But I think on pass two, so he, pass one, he comes back, and pass two, after he passes the house, he's gone for 18 minutes. I think that he probably stopped somewhere along one of these when he was circling, and obviously it could be the other way, it could be bigger, smaller. But I think between pass 2 and 3 that he probably stopped somewhere and got set up, and he was actually ready when he came for pass 3. Like 3 was really when he was going to stop. So at 3:57, he was actually prepared to go and do it, in my opinion. Just this theory. But could it be that when pass 3, when he showed up at 3:57, Could it be that maybe like the DoorDash driver was there a little bit early? It says like DoorDash arrived at 4. Could that have been off by a couple minutes? And so maybe that DoorDash driver was there. Or it could have been just somebody just coming down the neighborhood and that spooked him. So he had to go and then do another 8-minute circle around the neighborhood. Just speculation. Let me know in the chat what you think. But that would be my theory on that, because it would make sense. He was probably ready for that third. He's already done 2 passes. That third time he was coming back around, he was ready. He stopped somewhere, gloved up, suited up, or whatever. And like I said, there was something there at 3:57 that spooked him, so he had to do another 8-minute circle around the neighborhood. 63 Clocks, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. You're so awesome. And I just want to say, I know if there's some people in here that think he's innocent, we welcome everybody here. We just ask everybody to be respectful to each other in the chat and the comments. We're all adults here, and we respect the other side's arguments completely. We just ask to be respectful. And One Who Sees, hello everyone, good to see you. Member for 7 months, that's awesome. Thank you so much, One Who Sees, for being a member for 7 months. Let's see, I saw some comments. Yeah, 8 minutes, except for the 18 minutes. It's kind of a little bit bigger gap, but yeah, there's a little bit of consistency there. Just be careful, Dolly Bear. Nightbot, if you use like all caps or something, Nightbot might block you. So not block you, but it might just delete one of your comments. So just be careful. Oh, you were seeing if Nightbot would respond. Okay. I saw a comment I want to get to. Wild Mustang, I agree. The DoorDash could have been it. Possibly. I mean, it says 4 a.m. if I recall. Let's pull up the affidavit here for a second. Let's see. Southeast. I know she's on TikTok. Here it is. So this is the exception of Xana Carnaldo, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. So it says approximately 4 a.m. So it could have been, a minute or two earlier. And yeah. And it does, it takes a minute to park. And then walk the food, especially if they had to walk the food, which is interesting. Actually, now that I think about it, so for those that are with DoorDash, have done DoorDash, you kind of know what I'm talking about. If you haven't done DoorDash, then I'll explain just a little bit about DoorDash. So with DoorDash, you order your food. There is a thing that tells you, who your driver is going to be, and they can actually contact you. You can contact them through the app. And you can actually see down to the minute, where they're at, because once they get your food, they've got a GPS on them because you're both using the app, so you're both pinging, and so you can know when your food's coming and how far away it is. But the other thing you can do is you can put in special requests like, "Hey, can you drop it off in the back door?" So we know that, they use this main porch in the back. It could be, they could use that just as much, if not more, as the front door, if you guys know what I mean, as far as the back porch. So, and we know that Xana was on the second level where the front porch is at. So it would make sense for, instead of Xana, having the food delivered in front of the door here, which is on the first floor, which is lower, it would make sense for her to tell the driver to, park and then walk the food, around to the second porch, to the backyard, where the second floor porch is at. So it would make sense. And if that was the case, then that would take, obviously, the driver to be there for a little bit longer because they would have to walk the food around and then come back. And so they would be there for a few minutes. So don't know if that's what happened, but it's definitely a possibility. But that's how DoorDash works. You can, put in special requests, can, knock on the door. Usually if you don't put in anything, they'll just drop the food off, take a picture, and then it's there. But you can, like I said, you can put in special request. All right. Let's see. Continuing on here. All right. Okay. Move this. All right. Okay. All right. Let me turn this down just a little bit. So, if you guys have been here since the beginning, I kind of talked about how before this video got released and all this stuff, the original people that had it, from what I understand from the person that put out this video earlier today, said that they had heard some screaming and thought that the actual homicide took place before 4 a.m. And one of them, they thought that, if I recall, was at 3:48, 3:49, between that time frame, because you can hear some things. So I enhanced the audio, and we're going to listen to that. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds. You do hear some things, but we're gonna talk about like the realistic aspect of this, and would we really actually be able to hear what's going on from where this camera's at? So let me play the audio, and then we'll get back and talk about everything. So let me know in the chat. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Maybe I might turn it down a little bit more. So right away you can kind of hear some faint, you could say it's shouting, talking, whatever. Sounds like, it's kind of tough to tell because obviously it's enhanced, so it's going to make it sound like it's more dramatic than it may actually be. But you do hear voices. And you kind of hear some whoop, whoop. There's some more commotion going on, and like I said, we'll talk about it here after. Yeah, sorry for the eardrums. I turned that down a little bit more. Yeah, it does. It kind of sounds like a party going on, but I'm gonna play it just a little bit more. Yeah, that's the main thing. But yeah, we do kind of hear some faint hoot hollering, and I've seen some people say, "Oh, could be the murder or the homicides taking place." But let's look at this, where this camera's at and where the student's residence at. So here we have where the camera's at. Make sure. So we have the camera at Linda Lane here. We have the student's home here. And we've got a car alarm going off. We got 2 car alarms going off. Hope that isn't mine. Did you guys hear that? Okay. Anyway, so doing some measurements here, it's approximately 250 feet away. Now, it's not just 250 feet away, approximately, with a clear distance, with no obstacles. There's one, you've got the homicide taken indoors, so it's not like somebody's outside getting killed. They're indoors. Now, yes, multiple people are, but they're indoors, and it's winter, so most likely the windows are not open. Could be, but still, they're indoors. You've got this giant apartment complex that's sitting in between this 250 feet. I really doubt you would be able to hear anything, because you've got this giant apartment complex, and we're going to look at this complex a little bit closer. I doubt you'd be able to hear the homicides taking place from there. And we're going to look even further into this. But let's just look at the Queen Road Apartments real quick for a minute. So here's 500 Queen Apartments here. This is kind of what it looks like during the day and not winter time. And so here's the back view. So if, when he goes to pass here, let me move this. Can I move that? There we go. And let me move it a little bit more. There we go. So the car, when it passes, what we don't see is it passes this way here. So this is the back of the Queen Road Apartments. And so the car would have passed here. So, the three passes, it would have went behind this building. And then to the left of us would be another road plus the King Road, the former students' residence. But we got this apartment complex, which looks like it is... What is it, 3 floors? Yeah, so it's 3 floors. We got 3 windows. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 36, would it be 36 on that side? So approximately 36 apartments just on this one side here, because there's apartments on both sides. And maybe some of these could be 2 bedrooms. So maybe 30 apartments just on one side, and then on the back side it would be, probably the same amount. So 60 apartments approximately. I don't know, maybe it has the details of how many apartments, but probably 60 apartments per building, or 60 units, because there's 2 buildings. So it could be 30 and 30, something like that. Unless, there's more 2 bedrooms, then it would maybe be maybe 40 to 50. But either way, you've got these 2 buildings here. And so any one of these people, and especially this is a college area, so it wouldn't be surprising. Remember, it's a Saturday night, early Sunday morning, so that would be the time to be partying. And so for them, if you were hearing anything, even like screams or anything, it's probably just coming from the Queen Road Apartments, and just probably, in my opinion, just noise from people partying. Oh, it looks like this building's a little bit not as big as this other one, so maybe 30 and 20, something like that. But so anywhere from like 30 to 50 units in those Queen Road Apartments. So still, that's a lot. And then also you got to remember you've got the units at 1330 as well, where the camera is sitting at. Let's see, where are we at? 1540. So, I mean, we're kind of sitting halfway under, at the very least halfway under, if not maybe 3/4 to the right, under these units. So any of that hollering and shouting could just probably be coming from the building itself. And that would be just my opinion. But anyway, the other argument to that... Besides, I think that just being way too far to be able to capture those kind of sounds is, let's remember what did capture the actual homicide and what they said it captured. So what it was able to capture, and like I said, I'm going to do a video because it sounds like there is a lot of cameras at this. I mean, this is really adding up here. But at 417, a security camera located at 1112 King Road, which is literally next door, the one with the light bulb camera, a residence immediately northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up a distorted audio of what sounds like voices of whimper followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times, starting at 417. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. So let's look at where the camera's at and where the bedrooms and everything. So if you guys remember, the camera is sitting right here. Actually, it would have been a little bit closer. Actually, the camera would have been probably right here. So what did it say? Less than 50 feet. So this said 70. So yeah, 50 feet. And remember that the homicides took place in Xana's bedroom, which obviously is the closest thing that is to this unit, this house here. So it would make sense for them to pick up some thuds and maybe some light whimpering, if what it said in the affidavit. And it would make sense for the dog to be heard because it's also on the west side of the building. And then the girls on the second floor, sadly, were on the east side of the building, right above the surviving roommate on floor 2. But it would make sense for Xana, especially sounds happening around 417, which you would think, Maddie and Kaylee were first, probably somewhere between 410, 408 and 410. And then, then he would go downstairs, 411, 412, and then Xana, she'd been on her TikTok at 412. The other thing that I wanted to mention about how I don't think the homicides could have taken place before is, remember, let's see, do I have it after? Another argument to why I just don't think there could be homicides before 4 a.m. is that, one, we have Xana logged into her TikTok at, 412. So I don't think you could have a homicide and her being logged into TikTok and using the app at 412 if she's already been killed. And then who would have ordered the DoorDash at 4 a.m. or just before? So I honestly, unless you think it's the DoorDash driver, which still people do talk about that, but I just don't think that would be the case. But that would be my biggest argument, is why I just think it would be nearly impossible for any homicide to take place before 4 a.m., which was, like I said, there was some people making that argument because of what they heard in the audio of these recent released videos. But in my opinion, I think that it's way too far for it to be able to capture something that's happening indoors over 230 feet away, with a large apartment complex in between it. I just don't think you would be able to hear that. So let's see what you guys are saying. I've got some more stuff to talk about. And I hate shooting down the other side, but like I said, at this point, especially with this footage coming out, and it's really just all lining up with the affidavit, pretty much spot on with the affidavit. So, I mean, to me, it's just not looking good for BK. So I wanted to do an interesting, because we have 400 people in here, and I just want to say thank you to the 400 plus people in here taking the time out of their day to watch the show. You guys are so awesome. I'm going to put up a poll real quick that I haven't done for a while. So give me just a second here. I've got to do some things. And then, like I said, I'll try to get that footage with the sunroof and explain that, because I knew I should have grabbed that. So I'm just putting up a poll. If you think Bryan Kohberger is, I'm going to put guilty. And that way it can be anonymous. And kind of curious to see where everybody sits at. So, okay, hopefully I got it up here. And then, like I said, I've got a few more things to go over, and I'll see if I can pull that footage real quick as well. So let me move that back over. Okay, coming out of the gate, 70% says yes. And like I said, it's fine if you don't. We welcome everybody. We just ask everybody be respectful to each other. We're all adults. We can speculate both sides. But right now with this footage, it lines up with the PC affidavit. Oh, give me one more thing. Give me one more second here. Okay, let me see what chat's saying, and then we'll get to the last part of the show here. You know what? Let's see. Hey, look at your guys' chat. You guys are live on YouTube. Sorry, I have to use my other screen for a minute. I'm going to pull the video real quick so we can look at it. Because like I said, there's one more video, and I was wondering, where is this the sunroof thing coming from? Of course, so far I got that. Oh, it's captured at 12:44. Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on. All right. No wonder it did. Okay, the one with the, from what I'm understanding, oh, come on. I might have to take T-Rev's video. Shout out to T-Rev. Of course, I'm sure a lot of you guys know him. He covers this case. You got it? I hate to take someone's video without doing it here. Okay. All right. Shout out to T-Rev because I'm taking this from him. Get everything back to where it was. I think this video has the other view. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these are 405. This. Okay, this is the camera. So this is the one with the sunroof. Now keep in mind that you don't see a time. Oh, there we go. Timestamp 12:44, and this is Linda Lane. So it's 12:44. Remember, he hasn't even left. Kohberger hasn't even left, and so here's the car everybody's talking about. And it's got a sunroof. You can see it's got a sunroof. But I just don't see why people are making a big deal about this. It's 12, because before there wasn't a timestamp, but now someone's put the timestamp back on, and that's at 12:44. Remember, Kohberger doesn't leave until a little after 2 a.m. So to me, this is nothing. This is just a random white sedan with a sunroof. It does have a sunroof, but to me, it doesn't mean anything because this is way before Kohberger even supposedly left. So now I think it was made a big deal because I think, like I said, I could be wrong, but when this first released, I think somebody, I don't know, purposely hid the timestamp, and maybe he was trying to make it. And I could be wrong, but like I said, I do recall that the timestamp was missing in the beginning. But yeah, it's 12:44. You know, if it was, and it's just doing a U-turn, I just don't know. Like I said, now do you understand the context? It's just a car coming up the road doing a U-turn at 12:44. Let me know in the chat if there's any more argument to this. But to me, it's just it's a white sedan with the sunroof, but it's many hours before anything was to happen yet. Oh, I remember that. Ian Hash. The cook, wasn't he a cook in the Queen Road Apartments? um, let's see what what's going on. So 70% yes, 6%, 7% no. It keeps changing. 22% not sure. I respect that. So you're still kind of still not sure. Totally respect that. But here's, like I said, this is the context of the sunroof. And as you can see, zoom this in real quick. As you can see, the timestamp is 12:44 a.m. It is that same morning, but it's 12:44. But if we remember, we go back. Oh gosh, is it at the top or the bottom? When does it say he starts leaving? It's in the bottom. Anyway, well, actually, yeah, I think I know where it's at. There he's at. Yeah, 2:44. So yeah, he's still in Washington, and doesn't leave until later. So he doesn't really get into. Let's see, laundry, Pullman. So yeah, he's in Pullman, Washington, until almost 3 a.m. So, because remember, he just makes that short 10-minute drive to Moscow, but then when he leaves, then he takes the long way, probably maybe disposing evidence. And here's another argument to the possible guilt of Bryan Kohberger. Like I said, just another argument to add to this is, and this is something I learned from Steve from True Crime Web, so shout out to him, is victimology. And basically that's the study of a person's habits. So we know that apparently Bryan Kohberger turns off his phone, just after he leaves the home. And he wouldn't turn it back on until many hours later, suspiciously after the homicides happened, and he's now south of Moscow, 15, 20 minutes south of Moscow, and now is turning his phone back on after it's been off for 4 hours. The question would be, and I guarantee you they will pull this up, and this will be in the trial at some point, and this all goes back to victimology, is how many times has Bryan Kohberger has ever turned off his phone between those hours, especially when he's driving. I mean, usually I would like to have my phone on so I can use my GPS or listen to my music or whatever, but it just, so I guarantee you, if Bryan Kohberger has never done that before, or even maybe just one time before that, but if that's something that he doesn't normally do, then that's not going to look good, because why are you turning off your phone? So something like I said, yeah, I always learn something new from Steve every time I talk to him, and I know we talked about that before. Camilla, timestamps are only good if time is correct on your camera, in my opinion. Correct. Yes, and some cameras are set, they're a little bit time off. This one seems to be lined up. Hopefully you caught the first part of the show. Hutch J61, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. You are so awesome. Please show Hutch and Camilla some love in the chat. Let me make sure I haven't missed anybody here. Okay, good deal. So, and then remember, the other thing that I was having to talk, and I think this was Steve and I think even Christina as well, is, I mean, we don't know, but could Bryan Kohberger possibly be, a psychopath? He did describe having those feelings that, he didn't have like the normal feelings like a normal human person. It was really a sad, what was it, a blog or something that he had. I haven't read it for a while. But just describing that he just basically didn't feel like other people. And I just wonder if for the first time, not only just for the homicides, but with this whole trial, because if he is, say, like a psychopath and he doesn't feel fear or he doesn't feel enjoyment like us normal people do. So when we go on a roller coaster, we get fear, excitement, we get adrenaline rush. Whereas somebody that, if he had those traits, he wouldn't experience the same things we would do. So he'd be on that roller coaster, and it would just be like he was laying in bed, and wondering why we're all excited. So to me, it just makes me wonder if, and many other things as well, but this whole, not only just the homicides, but this whole trial and everything, this is like the most he's ever lived. And this is just purely a speculation. Certainly no psychologist or, any major in that kind of form, but just theories on that. But if you think about it, I think he's smart. I would love to know his IQ. And he was prepared for this. And I almost, in some ways, I think he almost wanted to get caught, but wants to get away with it and outsmart the system. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you think. But that's just my thoughts on it. Yeah, BK is wired differently, for sure. So let me recap if you missed the first part of the show. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but what I want to do, I don't know if somebody's done it before. Hopefully you got something new out of this, but where's my video at? But if you missed the first part of the show, take this off real quick. Geometry, there we go. What I did is took the latest footage. First they had the between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. Now they released between 3 and 4, and that's where this car passes supposedly 3 times. And it all kind of puts the picture, puts some of the puzzles together. And so this car is seen driving 3 times between. So we have one at 3:31 here. Here, let me go to the zoomed in ones just to kind of. And what I did, the big thing that I wanted to do that hopefully maybe somebody else hasn't thought of, but then again, this is YouTube, and but what I tried to do is, let's see, is this? Yeah. So what I tried to do is I took the 3 passes, I zoomed it in exactly to the same spot on all 3 clips, and what I wanted to do is I overlaid them on top of each other, and then I paused it at the spot where you can kind of see the car sticking out past the beam. And what I would do is I would run the transparency lever on and off between one video. And so what you're seeing here is 2 different clips, pass 1 and pass 2. So 3:31 and then 3:57. So it's literally to see if it literally matches up and if anything changes. And it's literally, in my opinion, it's like I would say 90% match, because I want to say 100%, but literally it looks like the same exact car. At least, there's no difference in height or length. So between pass 1, 2, and 3, I overlapped them all. Basically, it's called overlaying them, and they all lined up just right. Then I used this red bar to give us an idea of where the hood is, the top of the car, and each pass, they all passed. It's the same exact. And so here we're kind of seeing it pass right here. And so all three passes, that's, to me, in my personal opinion, it's the same. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting, and I think chat agreed here, is if we look at the time frame between the passes, so between pass 1 and pass 2, there's an 8-minute time gap. Between pass 2 and 3, there's an 18-minute time gap. And then between pass 3 and 4, there's an 8-minute time gap. So that's kind of interesting that there's two of them that are pretty much the same time gap. And I noticed that running along this neighborhood doing a circle would take approximately 8 minutes. So my opinion is, I think after pass 1, he did a kind of a circle around the neighborhood, came back, and pass 2, he passed around, and for whatever reason, after he passed the second time, there was something there. But I think after the second time he passed, he pulled over, or maybe he liked what he saw during the second pass. As a matter of fact, probably when he did the second pass, he probably thought, oh, this is it. There's nobody there. So now I need to get ready. So he's going to leave again and then pull over somewhere, maybe get his gloves on, maybe do a couple things he didn't do before when he left, make sure he's all ready. And so he's gone for, instead of 8 minutes, he's gone for 18 minutes. So he takes 10 extra minutes. So that totally makes sense of getting ready. Then he comes back for that third pass, but then it's at 3:57, and we know DoorDash came around approximately 4 a.m., so could have DoorDash been there? And like I said, he was ready that time, but there was just something there that caused him to have to do another lap around the neighborhood, take another 8 minutes, and now DoorDash is left, and now it's 4:05, and then sadly it's he commits this heinous act. But I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice here. Don't have to turn phone off for it not to ping. Right, yeah. I mean, it could still ping. It depends on phone and what he does. He could switch to airplane mode, but yeah, it's true. You could still track him in some ways. Possible that his GPS was off. And I did do a video talking about his car. Maybe we'll finish off with that as well. Be kind of something interesting if you haven't seen that. Now that's true. The dates and time could be off. That is true, Teresa. That is a good argument. We don't know the context of these. I mean, I would give more weight to this video, just because I've seen kind of the complete. I haven't seen the complete video, but I've seen how this video's come together. I know this is. I would say, especially this video here from this surveillance, to me, I think is legit. Now it's true. The other video with the sedan, but like I said, the car's it's not even doing anything. It's just coming up lane to lane, not even the same the road. It's coming up the different one and then just turn around. And that's it. It's not good. We don't see it going towards the King Road residence. I just don't understand the significance of it. It really doesn't add any much weight, but that is true, though. The dates could be wrong. There's always that possibility. Thank you, 63 clocks. Again, I just want to say your analysis is excellent. This is great info. Thank you so much. That means the world. Um, what were we gonna see? Habits. What were we gonna finish with? Um, Pull up the video. Now I wanted to talk about the cameras. What was I gonna finish with? Let me know in the chat. Oh, I was gonna finish with something, and I can't remember. I know I wanted to talk about the cameras, but there was one more thing I mentioned and I forgot. Um, the heck was it? Jeff XT Rev found a sound in both this LL footage and Banfield cam syncs up with the time clock. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Thanks, Jeff H. Like I said, in my opinion, it's probably kids shouting in between. Because, I mean, you got to think, it would make sense to hear kids shouting. And we know that, the kids were, it's college, they were out there, they were pulled over, over here in this area here. Yeah, it was this area here. So that would make sense. If there was some source of sound coming from anywhere in this area, it would make sense for it to be picked up here and the Linda Lane, either one of them, maybe even, especially 1330, because it's kind of like in between. And who knows? It's possible, but I think you just got so many obstacles and so many different possible human beings that could be wandering around that more likely, just especially if they were under the influence. I'm sure a lot of us have been to parties, and it was a Saturday night, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's hoot and hollering. We can listen to that audio one more time because, like I said, I enhanced it. But interesting. Thanks, Jeff. I'll have to look at that. Let me turn down the audio real quick. Okay, here it is. So, like I said, my argument to be for it to anything happen before 4 a.m. is you've got the DoorDash driver and you got the TikTok Xana being on TikTok at 4:12. I just can't see that. That'd be the argument towards that. That's such a great question. Oh, I'm gonna definitely have to go back to that, AJ. That is great. Right, because that footage. God, when does that footage end? It ends. Let me know in the chat if you guys remember what time the Banfield footage ends. I know I can pull it up in about 2 seconds. Oh my gosh. Actually, now I do want to pull that up. Oh no, I can't pull up my backup drive unless I. No, I do have it, but I have it in my portable hard drive, and I ran out of USB space. Actually, yeah, because dang it. Um, Anyways, I don't want to make this live too much longer, but that is a great idea. I will have to look that up. But one more thing I just wanted to add is we got to remember how many cameras there are that we know of, that we just know of from the probable cause affidavit, and then some others. So we know we got the camera here, so that's one camera here. We got 2, and 3. So already just within 200 feet on either side of the home, we've got 3 cameras for sure. Absolutely for sure. We saw that camera that's above the Queen Road apartments. Not sure if that was working that night, but we know that there's a camera that sees something going on. That could be this camera, but there could be a camera here as well. But there's at least 3 right here for sure. I would say there's probably 4 at the very least just in this area. Then we know if we back out to the road. Actually, I'd probably have to pull up Google Earth. When we back out to Google Earth, there are a bunch of other. There's a gas station. So I would think, at the very least, just kind of going between the affidavit and some speculation, I would think there's anywhere from maybe 6 to 10 cameras, because there's some cameras that capture him leaving when he's in Pullman. So we've got some cameras that are in Pullman. So we're probably talking anywhere from 6 to 10 cameras at the very least, 6 to 10. And that doesn't surprise me in this day and age. I mean, especially, for those that know the background of this residential area where there was people getting stuff stolen from, those girls had their car broken into. And so, yeah, to me, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot of footage. And to me, I think, yes, they have DNA on him apparently with the sheath. And I know that's been argued. But to me, I think the biggest thing when it comes down to this trial, it's going to be the camera footage. And especially if you guys remember how they kind of put everything together in the Alex Murdaugh case where, they try. Oh, that reminds me I remember what I wanted to go over before I finished, is what Bryan Kohberger had in his car. So I'll pull that up so I don't forget. But in the Alex Murdaugh case, they were able to track him because, he had his Suburban that had the GPS. And so we knew minute to minute, where he was at for the most part, unless he wasn't in the SUV. But so to me, it's going to be kind of the same thing, just without the GPS, because I did look up. So this Hyundai Elantra, for those that didn't see my video, so let me start just closing some of these windows. So this is his car, the 2015 Hyundai Elantra. And those do have an upgrade package. So obviously, if you just get the stock regular model, it does not come with the infotainment center. So that's what they use to track Alex Murdaugh in his SUV, because he had money, lots of it. And they were able to use that infotainment center, which has got the GPS. Now, unfortunately, I took a screenshot of inside his car. Oh, did I erase it? Anyway, it's this one here. He's basically got this one. So this is what he's got. This is the standard package. This is not the GPS infotainment center. This is what the upgrade looks like. Same model, 2015, or this one here. There's a couple of different ones you can get. But these are the infotainment center with the GPS in it. He doesn't have that. He's got this right here. So now there are things like with my insurance, like State Farm insurance, I have this little beacon that I put in my glove box, and I sign in it. I have an app. And basically, it actually tracks me through my GPS through my phone, using my phone, obviously. Then it sends it to the beacon, which then sends it to my insurance. And then I get a discount, every month because it tracks, my speed and all that stuff. But so there are other ways of possibly having some kind of GPS tracking, but, it would have to be, to me, it'd have to be associated with the phone. But then we know he turned his phone off. or at least that's what it says in the PC affidavit. So anyway, so let me see what you guys are saying and finish up here. And I appreciate everybody taking the time out of the day to watch the show. Yes, I will look that up, AJ. That's such a great idea. Thank you. That was a great idea, AJ. And I'm going to definitely check that out. Shout out to all my wonderful mods. Yeah, so I'm assuming if you're saying it's not required in his home state, that is the license plate. Yeah, so I can't remember how many, gosh, and I heard the number too. I want to say 12, but I could be wrong. But yeah, there are states where you are not required to have the front license plate, and Pennsylvania is one of them, where he was obviously originally from. But Idaho does, I believe, require it. Yeah, you can't see it in the video. That's a good question. I did look for that. I'm still seeing if I could see the fin, because that would be uh, a real big one if I could see the fin. But I'm still trying to see, and that's possible too. Um, yeah, I think obviously we'll know a lot more. I wonder if she was actually like making a video, and that's kind of how they know. Um, but yeah, it's totally possible as well. Yes, we looked into that at the very beginning because a lot of people were like, "Wow, DoorDash at 4 a.m." Yeah, so that Jack in the Box, especially I guess because it's college towns. You got two college towns basically 10 minutes apart from each other, and of course, the bars start closing at 2 a.m., 2 or 3 a.m. Um, Usually 2 a.m. I think. And so now everybody's leaving the bar and they need that substance. So it makes sense for them to just be open 24/7 on, like, I think there's a couple days they're not open 24/7, but I think it's like 5 out of the 7 days they're open 24 hours. And then if you have a DoorDash driver that's available, they'll do it. And I guarantee they probably get the best tips. Just like a bartender, people are under the influence, they tip better. So to me, it would make sense for DoorDash drivers to be available at that time, that early in the morning or late at night on the holiday or on the weekends, not holidays, on the weekends, because they would probably make some killer tips. I think he is guilty, but I think he planted doubt. Oh yeah, totally agree. That's his whole thing. Like I said, yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally 100% agreed. This is, his lawyer is, even though it's an appointed lawyer, they're doing what a defense lawyer would do, is to cause doubt, and they are definitely doing that. And 100% agree. BB13, great content. I like your theory on the amount of time on the different passes around the scene. I always felt he was involved 100%. Just feel there's more to the story and maybe another party involved. Possibly, for sure. Respect that. The body cam footage lining up, which it will, would vindicate you from YouTubers who doubted you, Mob Crew Chris, when you spotted the white car in that footage back then. Right, I know. Um, Even if I was wrong, though, like I said, I'm not perfect, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I make mistakes all the time. June, wonder why they point out he stepped in Loma, Colorado. Wonder why he point out he stopped in Loma, Colorado. In the affidavit, did they point that out? I'll have to go back and look at that, June. Because yeah, I mean, there's definitely some typos. If you're referring to the PC affidavit, man, there's many typos in that PC affidavit. Many confusing things in there, right down to the address. I'm assuming you're talking about that, but yeah, I'm not sure on that. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the gifted membership. Peyton, thanks you. Um, And yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and finish here. I think I got everybody's live chat. Oh, before you go, don't leave yet. Okay, I did get everybody. Oh, Christina, I missed yours. Happy to discuss psychopathy with you anytime, Chris. Thank you so much, Christina. Sorry, almost forgot you. Okay, thank you so much to everybody that donated. So, I've got most of the pet pictures ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip through them because I don't have the video yet. Um, but I do have the pictures. I just got to put them into a video form. So I'm just going to run through them here. Um, so this is Bud. We got Duck 1, Mr. and Mrs. Ducky. Thanks to Carolyn. Then we got Esben and Jovi. We got Hippie. We got Little Bit. Oh my gosh, she's adorable. I want to steal him right now. Oh gosh, because he looks like a little mini German Shepherd. And I love those colors. Brown and black are my favorite. We got Luke in the overall pants. That's so awesome. We got Miss Millie. We got Nuna and Peach. Sorry, you guys are upside down. I'll fix that when I put it in the video. And we got Precious. We got Swinky. Takis and Beckham. Tinker, which is a cockatiel, which I had a cockatiel growing up, so that's awesome. And then we got Tucker, Mitchell, Marshall, and Ty. Bulldogs. That's so cool. So thank you guys. Those are pictures from my viewers. Thank you guys so much for sending those in. I'll have the video ready hopefully Friday. But thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Everybody, if you could, please hit that like button on your way out. And we will be back Friday. I may do a special live tomorrow because Steve is out on the road. He's doing the Evansdale murders. It's going to be the 11th year anniversary. 11 years? Yeah, I think that's right. Which is sad. But anyways, thank you again so much. I love you guys, and we will see you guys very soon.